Hey guys, had a lot of questions about the 12.5.55 homework question, so I thought it would be a good idea for me to go here to question help and the view an example and kind of break that example down for you a little bit more, and then in case you've never used it, walk you through the help me solve this problem too. Well, I'll get to that in a second. Okay, so it says here, we've got our coffee machine that dispenses a mean of 7 ounces of coffee into an 8-ounce cup. Standard deviation is half an ounce, and the amount is normally distributed. So that means that we can use a z-score. Anytime anything is normally distributed, you can use a z-score to answer the question that it is asking us, which is find the percent of times the machine will dispense less than 7.6 ounces. So the formula that is given for me here, the value that is given in the question, that value that they're talking about is that 7.6 ounces. And I'm going to subtract the mean. The mean is, of course, given to me in the problem here at 7. So 7.6 minus 7. And I'm going to divide it by the standard deviation. Standard deviation is given to me right there. It's that 0.5 ounces. So if I subtract 7.6 minus 7, that's going to give me 0.6. 0.6 divided by 0.5 is going to give me a z-score of 1.2. And if I'm just thinking about my logical reasoning and making sure that I did it correctly, remember the way normally distributed stuff is, anything that is above the mean is going to have a positive z-score. So the fact that this 7.6 ounces has a positive z-score and is bigger than the mean of 7 ounces, of course 7.6 is somewhere over here, which is obviously bigger than the 7 ounces, which is the mean. So that tells me that my positive z-score of 1.2 is probably right on track. I am, though, going to get my writing out of the way here. I'm going to double check the book because this example is helpful too. Hit continue. Yep, we subtracted and got the same thing, and we divided and got the same z-score. So the fact that it is 1.2 and positive means I'm going to go here to page 2 of my normal table. And again, I'm trying to find 1.2. So I'm going to go right here on the table. And technically, any decimal has zeros at the end of it, right? Sorry, let me zoom back in there. Like 1.2 is really the same thing as 1.200. You can add zeros to the ends of decimals all you want, and it doesn't change their value. So that means we are going to look here where the 1.2 is, and then we are going to look on the table right here where the 0.00 is. Look and see where those two intersect on the table, and it's right here at 0.8849. Now, of course, the question was asking us for a percent. In order to turn that percent into a decimal, we move the decimal 2 places to the right. So we get 88.49%. So in other words, 88.49% of the cups of coffee that come out of that machine will be fewer than 7.6 ounces. Let me double check myself, the example in the book, make sure, hit continue. Yep, they got 0.8849 also. Continue again, we got the same percent. I also wanted to walk you through another example because I think it can be helpful to use under question help to also use help me solve this. Because it's pretty cool. If you haven't ever used it, I think that it's pretty handy. So we've got a similar situation here, right, where we've got the coffee machine, we've got a mean that is given to us, we've got a standard deviation that is given to us, and an amount. Again, there's that 8-ounce cup that's a distractor. We don't need that. So you can take this information and actually substitute it in these little boxes to help you, and it checks your steps as you go, which is pretty cool in case you haven't ever used it. So the value that we're using this time is 7.56 ounces because the question is asking, find the percent of times the machine will dispense less than 7.56 ounces. So 7.56 goes in the value. Mean goes in 7.4. And of course, the standard deviation that was given to me is 0.4. So if I type all those answers in, check my answer. Nice work. I did a good job. All right. Now, here is where I'm not the biggest fan of how they do this. Okay, here's one thing that's kind of a little bit off. If I subtract 7.56 minus 7.4, I end up getting, of course, 0.12 over 0.4. And sorry, it would help if I added correctly, or it would help if I subtracted correctly, wouldn't it? Sorry, that's going to be 0.16, not 12. I don't know what I was just thinking. Okay, so notice here, I've got the exact decimal answer, the 0.16. The Help Me Solve This rounded the 0.16 to 0.2. But I'm going to show you in a second that it's going to be better for you to stick with the unrounded version. And really, when you're doing z-scores, you really should have two, if you got 2 decimals, you should use those 2 decimals. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with that rounding situation we've got going there. So again, I'm going to do 0.16 divided by 0.4. If I do 0.16 divided by 0.4, I get 0.4. So now let me get my writing out of the way here. So again, I got 0.4. I did 0.16 divided by 0.4, and I'm going to type into the box 0.4. Okay, now here's what's kind of weird, because it told me that I got it correct. And again, let me write back on here and show you what I did differently from what they did. So I said 0.16 divided by 0.4, and I got 0.4, which they just told me right there that is the correct answer. And here's what's kind of weird about the way that they've got the, the rounding thing that I don't quite get. Because if I actually put into my calculator the numbers that they divided, 0.2 divided by 0.4, you actually get 0.5. You don't get 0.4. So I'm a little confused. I'm trying to find out if this is like a glitch or something in the system. I'm not sure because it is saying that my answer with the unrounded version is right. So stick with the unrounded version, okay? Because for whatever reason it's counting it correct. And I'm going to get down to the bottom of why, what kind of issue we've got going on with this right here. So again, if you're using the Help Me Solve This problem, and you use your unrounded version, not the rounded version, because when you put your final answer actually into the box, it'll definitely work. Again, not sure what's up with that. So once I've gotten my 0.4, I'm going to check my table since I've got my z-score of 0.4, and 0.4 is really the same thing as 0.400. So that's why I'm going to go here and here where those two intersect, right there at 0.6554. Move the decimal over 2 places to the right. For my final answer, I should get 65.54%. So let's double check and make sure that I did that part right. So I'm going to type into the 0.6554, hit enter, told me I did it right. And finally, as a percent, that'll be 65.54. Check my answer again. And that is how you can use the Help Me Solve This for this question as well. I hope this helps a little bit. If you have any other questions, please, as always, I say it all the time because I really mean it, do not hesitate to reach out.